We good? We're in the car again. I never thought I'd be making this video because I don't feel qualified to talk about food. As someone who's struggled with dieting and calorie restriction and basically everything that's the opposite of healthy eating, I wonder if I'm being hypocritical or irresponsible. But at the same time, I really want to share my experiences with you and let you know that you're not the only one who's struggling to become healthy. And if you really want to get technical about it, who better to take advice from than someone who understands what you might be going through? So in this episode of Changing My Life, I'm going over how to eat healthy as a broke college student, my entire identity. I'll be discussing ways to eat healthy on meal plans, about cooking in dorms, about what a healthy mindset towards food is, and showing you what I eat in a day. So keep watching until the end for the complete guide on how you can eat healthily and save money, because screw the American college system and our crippling student debt. Out of all the videos I've made so far, this one speaks the most to me because food is so personal and so intimate. You see, I've struggled with food for as long as I can remember. I was never overweight, but rather consumed with achieving a certain look, and it became an obsession to eat just one bite less and to find pride in the feeling of hunger. But it was also, in a very weird way, a source of shame. I would weigh myself in secret every morning, worried that someone would find out that I've been using the scale. And it's really not glorious to have a food problem. It's an incredible feeling of helplessness to have to choose between your body and your appetite. So as someone who's looking to be healthier, you first have to consider what really is healthy. And in our weird transition between teenager and adult, we're very vulnerable. We're susceptible to Instagram models. We're accustomed to nothing less than picture perfect. And we've developed such a narrow definition of healthy that it becomes no longer healthy. So first ask yourself if you're pursuing a body image or are you actually pursuing health? And while healthy eating can be at times subjective, it is for sure not going to sleep starving. It's not being afraid and overwhelmed by the thought of making everyday food choices. It is, on the other hand, eating in a balanced and fulfilling manner that frees up mental space for the other things that matter in your life. We have finally completed all of the shopping that I had to do. I went out in my Birks, so you know that means business. And look at how pale I am. Like, I am a vampiric entity. I went to ShopRite, Aldi, and then I went to an Asian store. So at ShopRite, I spent $56.07. At the Asian market, I spent $25.40. And at Aldi, I spent $18.75, which, let me crunch some quick maths. Oh my god. The $100.22. Yeah, quick math.
She likes chocolate covered strawberries and wine.
So when you're shopping for groceries as a college student, there are a couple of tips that you should keep in mind to save time and money. So the first thing is buy food in bulk in moderation. So buy in large batches to keep the price per item low and freeze the rest. However, don't buy in bulk things you're not sure you're going to eat or takes up too much space in your fridge. So the second thing is when you're shopping and planning, keep in mind the general order of expensiveness. It goes seafood, beef, pork, chicken, eggs, vegetables and fruits, and then grains and legumes are typically the cheapest. The third thing that I'm definitely guilty of is don't buy too many spices, condiments, or kitchenware. You won't need them, you won't use them, and they're quite expensive and they take up a lot of space. So plan for the basics of your cuisine of preference, and that's about all you need. So for reference for you, this list that will probably appear here, this list of items I used quite a lot in my dorm, but what you bring will definitely depend on what style of food you like to eat. The next thing is to pretend that you're a financial grocery shopping guru. So just do things like make shopping lists, plan budgets, learn the prime time to buy certain foods, use apps like Ibotta to save more money on things you're already going to buy anyway. Just doing these things, even if you don't do them very well, will help you do them well in the future. And this last thing might be really obvious, but read nutrition labels. Pay particular attention to serving size, number of servings per container, and things like sugar and trans fat that you might want to look out for. Food can be really complicated. Everything seems to be good for you in moderation, but no one really defines what moderation really is, and there are a litany of diets out there that claim to be the healthiest. There's keto, Mediterranean fasting, intuitive eating, just a couple from the top of my head, and they often provide conflicting opinions on the same foods, which makes things really difficult. And there are also other considerations such as sustainability, ethics, safety, money, and time that go into planning your food. These are questions that everyone has to answer for themselves depending on their set of values. So here's my take on balancing everything you have to think about. And I'm not saying that this is the best solution, nor am I saying that this is even the solution for you, but this is what's worked for me, and I thought it's worth a share. So the first thing I found very helpful was cooking for myself, and I think that this is the best way to meet your food goals. You know what's in your food, you're the one who's preparing it, and you can really tailor it to what you like to eat. It will cost you in time, but I think it's worth the money saved and the level of control you have. The second thing, and I'm a little tentative to share this because I don't want to define healthy for you, but what I found helpful was eating by the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate, or what some people call the 2-1-1 method. Now don't despair, it's a very, very simple concept. So on your plate, half of it should be produce, a quarter of it should be protein, and the last quarter should be carbs in some form of like whole grains. And that's it. Now this isn't an ironclad rule, but it's an easy guideline to reference, and it's the most unobtrusive way to eating healthier that doesn't really require too much thought. It's really useful if you're in a dining hall and you can just model your choices, or you could cook additional vegetables or protein to just match the proportions of the plate. Now, cooking is something that I love to do. I think it's really fun and it's really helped me love food again, but it could be a source of stress for you. So I will go on record saying that cooking does not have to be Gordon Ramsay level fancy. It's your kitchen, there don't have to be any rules, so complete anarchy is okay. And you're allowed to use the microwave, you're allowed to screw up the recipe. No one is perfect, and neither should cooking be. But I do have tips on how to cook as a broke college student. Cook in bulk as much as you can, and this doesn't mean that you have to meal prep for an entire week. I don't even like eating frozen cooked food that's been reheated because, in my opinion, something's always a little off about the texture, so I just cook 2 meals at once for today and tomorrow. And everything that you've seen me make here and you will see me make is enough for 2 meals, so I don't just have a black hole for a stomach. If if you're wondering. Most things typically last around 2-3 days in the fridge, but things like fish I try to eat as soon as possible, next day, if can be. Now also, don't get caught up with following a recipe to the T. Recipes are like children's toys. They're made to be played with. So don't try to replicate what the blogger who has the kitchen of your dreams is doing. If you don't have parsley, maybe cilantro will work. Use the red onions instead of the white onions. It's going to be fine. And don't get caught up with getting certain items for a recipe that you just won't use ever again. Now, I have watched Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat on Netflix, so I am a self-proclaimed expert on cooking now. For the record, that was a joke, but I do have some things that I do to fix a weird tasting dish, and I'm just going to rapid fire. So if it feels like it's missing something, add salt. If it feels like it's too heavy, add an acid like lemons or vinegar. If it's too spicy, you're a wimp. Just kidding, add sugar or dairy. And if it's too salty, add water. And if your meats taste too umami and a little too meaty, use ginger, some sort of acid. This is the trifecta of Asian cooking. We have ginger, garlic, and green onions. Now I want to talk about the reality of food and meal plans in college dorms, so what you should expect and what you might be experiencing. If you're living on campus, chances are that you'll be forced to enroll in a meal plan that is probably not cheap. As you guys saw, I spent about $100 shopping for this week, and it might average between $100 and $125, which means mathing $400 to $500 a month and about $1,600 to $2,000 a semester. Now my college charges upwards of $3,000 for a meal plan. And if your college happens to have terrible food like mine does, despite being ranked as one of the schools with the best food, get the lowest meal plan and cook a little. You'll have a much better time there, trust me. You can ask some current students for their anecdotes on horror dining hall stories, but do not blindly believe what the internet says. Also, in a college dorm, you will most likely only have a kitchenette, a mini fridge. You probably won't have an oven except in the communal kitchen, and your sink is very small. So what does all this mean? It means 1, you have limited cooking space. 2, you probably won't be baking often. 3, you're probably going to have to do dishes on a regular basis. So, just a couple of things that you should know. In addition, which is me on every single essay I've ever written, here are a couple more tips that I have for you on eating healthy in general. Everyone knows drink more water, there's no way around it, but if you feel like you're craving something and you don't know what it is, it might be water. For food choices, try to eat more high fiber foods. It's like deep green leaved vegetables. Vegetables with deep green leaves. Also, fat is really not your enemy, especially fats in fishes tend to be really healthy. Omega-3s. Ooh, getting my science up. If you feel like you really need to eat a certain processed food and you've been craving it for a very long time, just eat a little bit. Do it in moderation. It's not going to harm you that much in the long run. Also, slow down your eating and really love and appreciate the food that you put effort into cooking and now you're eating, and just enjoy the moment. Now, the last thing, and what I think is maybe the most important thing, is if you fall off track of your healthy path, don't blame yourself. We often think of health as a starting point and an ending point, but there's a whole spectrum in between, so allow yourself to move along the spectrum and understand that wherever you are, you're not at the starting point, so don't beat yourself up about that, and I think that is the most important mindset, probably. Food can be a very finicky subject, and it's very closely tied to topics like body image and insecurities. So I have a happy surprise for you at the end to lighten up the mood a little. I'm sorry it's been so heavy. I'll see you all on Wednesday for a chaotic video and on Sunday for the next episode of Changing My Life, which will be on fitness. So please subscribe, hit bell notifications so you don't miss it. And as always, like and comment any of your thoughts. They're always welcome, and I wish everyone the best of luck on becoming a healthier version of yourself. Check out the description for the recipes, and now here is me struggling to drive. I have been at this parking space for 10 minutes more than I have paid for metering. According to all known laws of aviation, if the GPS doesn't tell me to turn left, I'm not turning left. Oh god, did I go the wrong way? Honestly, birds aren't even scared of cars anymore. And I don't understand because I'm still scared of cars. Dang, people have no chill. Bees are not supposed to be able to fly. If I've gone the wrong way, I'm dead. I literally come here every single day. It is obligatory in my car to say skirt skirt whenever a car passes you. Oh, bro, where am I? 4 cars are running over the same trash bag. I love how Milano is a place. Wait, no, Milano's not a place. I love how Milan is a place and Milano is a cookie. Skirt skirt. Oh my god, where am I? Do you know how satisfying it would be if everyone's windshield wipers just moved at the same time in synchrony? I love how it's called yield. Cause yield sounds like a word that's yield just doesn't sound like a word that we use anymore. Oh, we both have a yield sign. That makes things way more interesting. Skirt, skirt. Because, ooh, see, we gotta fix the roads, man. It's non-negotiable. I'm pretty sure a bird just pooped on my window.